Okay, recording.
Hi, Tony. This is your demonstration for the arrest of a shoplifter. Okay. Actually, I meant to ask you before you start the recording. Now, do you want to go through the
Recording again.
All right, Tony. This is your demonstration for the arrest of a shoplifter. Your scenario is you're a security officer working in a department store. You witnessed a person committing a theft, and you're going to make an arrest of that person. I want you to demonstrate and I had a train of thought there. Okay. Right, Tony, this is your demonstration of an arrest of a shoplifter. The scenario is you're a security officer working at a department store. You witnessed a person committing a theft, and you're going to make an arrest of that person. What I want you to do is demonstrate and explain to me the correct arrest procedure. So first of all, I want you to explain to me why you're about to attempt to arrest a person using the Ashcombe model.
Well, we would have watched this person in the shop as they come in around the shop, and we would have first seen the person approach the goods on the shelf. So he's walked up to the goods with nothing in his hands. He has then selected the goods from the shelf, so he's picked them up. He has concealed the goods on his person. At this point, we began observing the person as he walked around the store. We made sure we had full observation on him as he walked around the store. He made no attempt to pay for the goods at any point, and then he exited the store making no attempt to pay for the goods. So we've gone outside and arrested him.
Okay, and before you can make an arrest, can you explain to me some of the dangers of making an arrest?
Well, we could be physically, the guy's at risk, risk person, and he could have fight or flight going on, and he could attack us at any point. He could be in possession of a weapon that we don't know anything about. He could have friends or family members or colleagues outside the door that we don't know anything about. We could be, an accusation could be made against us of having done something incorrectly. Or the person could be a minor or have special needs or whatever, or have some kind of illness or body fluid transmission that we have concern about.
Okay, what sort of safety measures would you put in place then?
So I would always make sure, as I'm going out the door, that I would have a witness with me, or my colleague has a witness with me. I'd have appropriate PPE with me. I might have to wear my gloves. If I can, I'll try and utilize CCTV coverage outside the venue if we have that at all possible. And then we would use proper positioning, distancing, and try to keep ourselves safe while we're doing that.
Excellent. Okay. And also, before you make the arrest, tell me what preparations you've made.
So while the person was still in the shop, we would have been watching him for a period of time. So at that point, I would have communicated either on the radio or the phone with one of my colleagues, got them to go and stand by the door so my support was there. I would have made sure I had all of the equipment that I need to have in my possession to make the arrest. So that might include, if I need to get into an office, it might include PPE like gloves, my notebook and pen to take the person's details and stuff like that, and my two-way radio phone in case I need to call for help. And that would be before I go out. And then I'd also make sure that the location that we were going to get the person back into was a safe location, so we had a safe space to bring them back into.
Okay, so you're going to make the arrest. Can you demonstrate to me the position you would take up to make the arrest, and tell me why you would use this position?
Sure. So I would have to walk out, and I'd be walking up behind the person, but I wouldn't want to approach him from the back in case he might attack me. So I would actually come around to the front of the person, and I would try to stay off to kind of one side. So if I'm the shoplifter here, I would stay off to one side, and I would get my colleague to step off to that side. I'm speaking to him, I'll keep a safe distance, and I'll keep my arms out between me and him. And I would put my colleague on that support, but I would always want to leave it that if the shoplifter decides to run, he can run. If we decide to stop him, we can stop him in front, but we could also let him go. But what it also means for me, as I'm speaking to the shoplifter, is that I have an exit route back to my shop without having to go through the shoplifter.
Excellent. Okay. And when you're in that position, you're ready to arrest a shoplifter, can you demonstrate to me the wording you would use to make the arrest, and tell me why this wording is used?
Sure. I would do three things. The first thing I would do is I would who I am. So I would identify myself clearly as a security operative from the store. So I would stop him and say, I'm security from whatever store. I would tell him the reason why we're stopping him, as he's entitled to know. So we are stopping, arresting, or we are detaining you. He's legally entitled to know that. Then I would ask him and make a request of him to accompany me back into the store.
Okay. And once back inside the store, what do you say and do with the customer now?
So as we walk back inside the store, we go into a safe office or a safe room. I would ask the person to go into the room in front of me so I can see them visually at all times. When they go in the room, we would have a seat prepared in the room, and I would ask that the person to take a seat. I would take up a position over closer to the door, but not blocking the doorway, so that the person has an avenue to run if he wants, but I also have an avenue to escape out the door if I can with my colleague. I will keep my colleague over next to me. First thing I'll do is, again, explain to the person who's in here, so we tell them that we witnessed them concealing items on this person or in a bag, removing them from the store, and that's why we had stopped them. I would then ask them to say about that, and I would attempt to recover the goods from the person. So I'd ask them to take them or leave them aside so that we have possession of those goods again. At that point, depending on my store's policy, I may stay silent or produce my notebook and ask him for some personal details, depending on what the store policy is. So I might ask him for his name, his address, and his date of birth. I'd request that from him. He doesn't have to give it to me. So once we have those details of him, we have a value for the goods. We attempt to find a value for the goods or how much they're worth. And we then make a decision between myself, my colleague, store management, as to whether the value of the goods warrants contacting the Gardaí or when we contact the Gardaí. And at that point, we would either call or have somebody else call the Gardaí.
Okay, so the Gardaí have been called and they arrive at the store. Can you tell me how you'd explain the situation to the guards once they've arrived?
Sure. So as the Gardaí come into the office, I would be the first person to greet them as they come to the door. I would identify myself from the store, identify the person who we have detained. I would give them a brief overview of what happened. They will more than likely take the details, take my details first as the time or the person reporting the crime. I would try to have them written down so I could just hand them to the guard so I don't have to say it out loud. They would then ask the person for identification or try and get their details, seek the value of the goods, and then the guard would make a decision as to whether to arrest the person, bring them outside the store and release them.
Excellent. Okay, and just the last question for you. Can you tell me any other issues that you've not already mentioned that may arise during an arrest, and how would you deal with those?
Sure. Well, we might have a situation that may arise where the person who we have arrested may not be the same as me. So as a male security guard, I may have to arrest or detain female shoplifters or customers for shoplifting. Variables that would come in with that is I would attempt to have my second support person would be a female, and I want them in a support capacity or a witness capacity so that they can say that nothing untoward was said or done while that person was in the room. I would keep them in the room at all times, and I would avoid becoming in any way physical with the person.
Excellent, Tony. Thank you very much indeed. The demonstration is now complete.